It's Sloan here on 700 WLW. Speaking of immigration-related issues, before we jump into some other stories, it's Mental Health Monday with Julie Hattershire. Also, Jason Philbaum will jump in and talk about this horrible tragedy involving this 7-year-old kid in Oakley. William Evans is his name, and a lot of interesting details in that story. We'll get to that in just a little bit. First, though, we have the Springfield Haitian community losing their legal status. That is a huge issue right now in Ohio. And as it stands now, the administration is rewriting the rules on who is essentially American at birth and the issue of birthright immigration and people who come to this country to have kids in America so that they become citizens of the United States. That is all up in the air and debatable as we speak. And immigration attorney Pallavi Ahluwalia joins the show on 700 WLW to talk about this, to separate the fact from fiction. Welcome back. How you been?
Very good. Good morning to you,
Good
Scott.
morning.
Glad to be here again this morning.
Yeah, so we'll jump in. And here in Ohio, the issue of ICE and Haitian immigrants and temporary protected status being removed is caught in a lot of controversy. Before we get into what the latest ruling was relative to birthright citizenship, walk us through what's happening. Haitian families said, ICE says, okay, here you got to report to centers. You got to get a ankle monitor on you, or we're going to give you money to fly back to your country, even though it's not safe to do so at this point. When I read this, I go, okay, but we're not actually sending people back yet, are we? We don't know if we're actually going to go through with this. It looks like we are, but at this point we haven't, correct?
Yes, so, based on Mullen versus Doe, which was the Supreme Court ruling on June 25th, 2026, the Trump administration did end TPS for Haiti and Syria. The court held that the TPS statute bars courts from reviewing Homeland Security's decision to terminate this designation. So the practical effect is about 330 to 350 Haitians who are losing their legal protection from deportation and their work authorization. So there's several kinds of people who are here. There were people who were just completely relying on the temporary protected status to be here. There were another set of people which we understand that had some other underlying statuses that they were hanging on to while they were also using the temporary protected status. For people that had another status that they were on, they should be able to survive the end of the TPS, but the people that had no status at all, or perhaps just asylum filings, they may have a hard time because those are the ones that if they're showing up to court, it's not gone very well for asylum. Their legal options besides asylum were also family-based petitions, people who had spouses or children.
Okay.
But if people are being called in and ankle monitors are being put in, then it is that they are probably at this time on some other status that they're defending before they leave the country.
Is there any legal path at this point for someone whose TPS just ended? Are we just down to maybe asylum or seeking a different country to go to and hoping for the best?
No, it just depends really, Scott, on what status they already have. So basically, they could have been using the TPS as well as another status. So everyone's situation would be different. So losing status as TPS does not mean instant removal. It just means that the person no longer has that specific protection and becomes subject to the normal immigration enforcement process. And that requires and involves legal steps. It's not a matter of just picking up. You've got to put in the deportation orders. You have to get them to court, and then that's how it would work. Yeah. So they have to get some screening and then a decision and then sent back.
Okay. We talked about third country deportation. I suppose you could end up somewhere else other than Haiti. But given the State Department's own travel warning on Haiti, is there any legal mechanism at this point to pause deportations to an active crisis zone? And how realistic is asylum for a Haitian now in areas like Springfield? What do they have to prove?
So they still have to prove that there is the situation that exists that gave them that temporary protected order, that they are fearful to return back to their home country, and then the proposal of another country would be something that has to be seen which country that they would be removed to. For some people that have already been removed to another country, I mean, they have no clue where they are. It's just like they've been here for many, many years, decades actually working here, and suddenly they're in another country which is not even Haiti from where they came.
You practice immigration law for a while now, Pallavi. Have you ever seen TPS pulled this abruptly while the home country was still in active turmoil? Because you can't even commercial flights there. They won't land. It's too dangerous in Port-au-Prince. We're actually going to get the Coast Guard and maybe contractors to fly these people back if it gets to that point. You ever seen this before?
No, it's to have the TPS terminated at this level. No, we haven't seen it before.
I don't get it. I just, for the life of me, try to understand this. It makes no sense. It's not good for the economy. It's not good for these folks. We invited them here. I understand it's temporary, but why, if it's been gone for 20 years, why the urgency to do this now? That would be the multi-million-dollar question we're trying to figure out here in Ohio. She's Pallavi Ahluwalia, immigration attorney. The other thing that happened in the past few days is there's two new Trump executive orders following the Supreme Court's ruling in a case called Trump v. Barbara, which struck down his original birthright citizenship order, a little more narrower than this first attempt as well. This is actually going to go through. So in plain English, they're throwing, the Wong Kim Ark and a case from 1898 out there. I have no idea what all this means, but in plain English, what did the president sign?
So what the president is saying is that it's taken the narrow exceptions that the court acknowledged and lists the categories of children that the administration says falls inside those exceptions. So it's basically directing federal agencies not to issue documents recognizing citizenship and not to accept state or local documents recognizing citizenship for children in those categories when either parent is a citizen. So in plain English, let's say it again, there are two orders. The first order identifies specific categories of children born in the U.S. who the administration says are not covered by birthright citizenship, and then it tells the federal agencies not to issue the citizenship documents. And the second one is aimed at what the administration calls birth tourism, and it directs State Department and the Homeland Security to use visa system to stop people from coming in on a temporary visa specifically to give birth. So this has always been the law that you can't come in just to have kids.
Right.
And if anyone gets discovered in any administration, their visa has been revoked, but it's a restatement, I think.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that's a misconception that all of a sudden this is some new crackdown, and it really isn't. This is, it's enforcing a law. To come here and have a baby so they can be a resident has been, discouraged and prosecuted.
Against the law.
Yeah, it's against the law.
It's considered immigration fraud from the beginning.
Right. Pallavi, the Supreme Court settled this in June, so we've got another order. This is just narrowing it down. It's like the Supreme Court said, no, it's too broad. This is a little bit more narrow. What was the subtle difference between then and now?
So I think it's expanding the definition of people who are not covered by having children inside the country. So what the order is saying is that the list of people that were not, neither of them is a U.S. citizen, covers children of alien enemies, children of foreign government employees. So we know that people who had immunity from, and they were employees of a foreign country, could not, their children were not going to be considered U.S. citizens if they were born. But now it includes ambassadors, embassy and consulate staff who are nationals of that foreign country, people employed by a foreign government in an official capacity, and employees of international organizations who hold organizational immunity. So there's an expansion within the exception. So the exception that already existed. And I think it was pointed out in, by the justices, and I think it was written in the majority opinion. I'm trying to find those words, and
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't have that handy. But at this point, those are expanded to children of alien enemies, children of foreign government employees, children born out of commercial transaction to obtain citizenship, children born on U.S. territory or in U.S. territorial waters where citizenship is not conferred by federal statute.
Okay, and that's a mouthful, of course. Pallavi Ahluwalia, our immigration attorney expert on the show this morning. You mentioned there the alien enemy exemption. What actually does that mean? What is that captured?
So the alien enemy is like if they're occupying forces in the U.S. and you have a child here,
okay,
then your child will not be a U.S. citizen. Right.
All right. Yeah, because I hear that thrown around. Like, well, does that mean is that like an ambassador? Is it, right? It's someone who's actually an invading force, not welcome here.
Yes. So it is. It's been defined now to include a member of designated foreign terrorist organization or a specially designated global terrorist. So that those lists are maintained by the federal government or by the executive, right? The expansion or of who they consider a global terrorist. So,
okay.
I mean, truly, there should not be any enemies of the United States in the country who should have kids here, and then we have a struggle with the loyalty.
Yeah, it's a sovereignty issue, is what it is.
Yes, but still, the Barbara versus Trump does cover all kids who were born inside the U.S., only with a narrow exception of the ones that already existed as an exception earlier.
One of the things I'm making hay with in this is the birth tourism thing, and how would DHS actually prove someone used a commercial transaction to be present for birth?
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, if there were, there are entities that actually offer, and I think if I understand, there was something at the border that said you can now come and have kids inside the country. And I think that was a trigger as well that caused alarm that this is actually actively going on. So, and again, I mean, if you're actively saying, and there is this side commercial industry that's thriving because rich people from different countries pay to have their kids inside the United States, that definitely is a matter of visa fraud, and those people should not be allowed in, and the operators should be dealt with the full force of law. That is not what it is meant to be.
How is this, Pallavi, in related issues, how is this gold card thing working, by the way, that you can pay an obscene amount of money to get fast-tracked to becoming a United States citizen? I mean, I get the essence of it is we want the best and brightest and we want entrepreneurs to come to the United States and thrive, provide jobs and all this. However, the other side of that would be the fact that the people who are going to do the heavy lifting in this country, the manual labor, the hard stuff, are getting thrown out. Those things seem to be at odds with one another.
Yeah, so it is an immigration initiative established by executive order. It does offer foreign nationals a pathway to lawful permanent resident status in the United States through a contribution of $1 million for individuals and $2 million for corporate sponsorship per employee. And of course, there's a $15,000 processing fee as well. In my practice right now, I haven't had people who've deployed it yet, so I haven't. It's been promoted as an expedited economic driver, but I think it's had a little bit of a slow uptake, and the legal scrutiny regarding its basis and backlog constraints, we don't know how it's going to work right now. We still don't know how it'll show up. But to your point earlier about people who already have legal pathways to come into the country, there is our Einstein Green Card, which is AB1A, which my law firm as well does. And this is for the brightest scientists, the PhDs that have produced some, magnificent things. We've had I've represented a scientist who made and was responsible for a mathematical formula that went into ink, and that was tamper-proof ink during COVID times. So there are brilliant people out here who are vying for that EB1A category. They're professors, researchers under EB1B category. They're multinational executives. They're, again, advanced degree professionals. There are a lot of people standing in line to get this. So facing that competition and wanting to give $1 million, I'm not sure yet, because people are still trying. If they came here to study and they've acquired all their professional expertise, so to speak, within the United States, they want to use that to get their green card.
Yeah, and then the million, you're kind of playing to the back of the room there. Anyway, nonetheless, it's Pallavi Ahluwalia is immigration attorney at ahluwalialaw.com. Thanks again so much for joining the show.
Thank you so much, Scott.
Yeah.
All the best this morning.
All the best. We'll see how it plays, especially here with the Haitians and TPS expiring. And you actually put these people on a plane and go, yeah, we'll give you a free ticket back to where you came from, even though we can't get planes to fly there.